spent some time not sure whether he was living or dying, and ultimately that led him to the desire to explore further that side of his reality that he had not participated in very much before.
Wow. Who did you listen to, Dan?
I listened to Joy, and I learned that Joy's grandfather was a really powerful early spiritual mentor for her. And also that in graduate school she came to what she actually described as a spiritual closing rather than a spiritual opening, where she was forced to, or she felt forced to make a choice between continuing a spiritual study that she'd undertaken and continuing with an academic study that she'd undertaken, and she didn't feel like she could do both. And she chose the academic study, but she's recently come back to that spiritual study that she had started those years ago.
Yeah, I'll just heighten it to say the academic choice was the choice of the exterior, right? And the spiritual choice was the interior choice, and hopefully the two will merge at some point. Liz, thank you.
I get to meet Gregory, sorry. And I hope I get this right. And I don't know how to add this in, because I also picked up in Gregory a presence which was not in the words. There's a calmness, a way of being that comes through that I also picked up. But what we talked about, what he shared, was that he had a teacher, and well, that's my opinion, so I was impressed with that, but there was a teacher.
Nice catch.
Exactly.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. That was me. And that he had just recently, and again, I hope I honor, noticed that sometimes unhappiness would work, but that he realized it wasn't coming from him, that it was something separate than him. And he sat with that for a while and noticed that he was able to release that and just be in the flow of everything as it was. And again, I hope I have done justice to what he said. Yeah.
Cool. Do you feel like she did justice to what you said? Right. You see, just to reinforce what Mark's saying, in terms of listening, you're always getting feedback whether your listening is accurate. We're so subtle that we're always giving feedback. And all you have to do is listen, and you can correct whatever it is. So, good. Yeah. Gregory, go ahead.
Okay. I listened to Mrs. Erin, and she shared about an adolescent experience that she was going through a period of kind of existential doubt and darkness about doing kind of a personal survey of problems and difficulties and suffering that had emerged in her life, and was journaling about that and feeling the angst of aloneness and loneliness around that. And it kind of came to a head where some kind of opening happened, and instead of feeling lonely, there was a certain kind of communion of some sort where she felt connected with God, or to a larger presence that revealed to her that I've been with you through all of that, and you might not have noticed that. And then for her, that also gave her a sense of her own autonomy to use our language, because her father's a minister, and so she had her own experience that was distinct from her father's experience or the church's experience. And then the bliss lasted for a few days until it started to fade, but she took it to school with her, and so it was a beginning for her own path.
Listening. Good. Please.
Got to listen to Liz. And kind of feeling I got from what she shared at first was that kind of recently there was a time when she was needing something, needing connection to something larger, to herself, and she was wanting to get to a women's retreat with Diane and wasn't able to, and was at work, and in the midst of that got a call from someone in her life saying, do you know who Padre Pio is? And she was like, well, yes, because I was in Spain with my husband and we slept in a guest room with Padre Pio over our bed, so certainly I know who he is. And this person says, wow, we have his cloak, and I just think you should come and try it on, that you should put it around you.
Really?
Yep.
And so she was like, well, I don't know what's going on, but I've been asking and I'm wanting, and I went, and she put the cloak around her and immediately felt this kind of wash of love and being held.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Jason.
I listened to Pearl, but I also listened to Lima too. Although, maybe not directly. Pearl described very establishment of faith at an early age in the Christian tradition, and that kind of evolved and incorporated other religions and interest in religions over the course of time. But it was interesting, we contrasted, my experience was kind of not having faith, and hers was very establishing it very early on.
I listened to Jason, and
You listen to this one.
You listen to me, I listen to Jason.
I listened to him too. Okay, this is Lyman and Lyman's experience. Lyman didn't grow up with real religious experience, didn't have a whole lot of faith until he got into recovery, and his experience with that was very strong at first and then faded, and as his life's gone on, he got into another group where they were really into meditation, and that sparked a big interest in his spiritual growth, and then getting into the integral, that's really sparked a big growth in him. And so as his sparks started, as he was starting to recover in AA, it faded a little bit, but then it seems like doors are opening for him, and he just keeps growing that way. Is that about right?
Cool.
I listened to Jason, and I heard he talked about a desire for some kind of spirituality, and the desire led him to studies in school, and I heard that he had a state of mind experience through chemistry, which was very powerful for him, and he's been able to hold on to that.
Through chemistry class?
No.
She knows what she's asking.
Thing on the upper right.
It was very spiritual for him, and he was able to hold on to that. And the whole sense I got was that he's definitely seeking and searching and has a huge desire for growth in a spiritual way. And I suspect that's why he's here.
Beautiful. Great. Good. Yeah, just a quick thing I want people to notice too, just when we're having what we might refer to as transcendent experiences, where suddenly you experience the whole, and you see yourself, or you notice that you're actually not separate, right? That all of it is me, and I am it, and there is no separation. We might call that a radical first-person experience. In the Zen tradition, that's an enlightenment experience, because what I talked about before is there's no longer an object. It's not me and the mountain. I am the mountain's me. We're not separate. And that often is the source of a great spiritual understanding, is when that deep perspective shift sets in and you see yourself never having been separate from God for any moment. Right? It's a radical first person. Does that make sense to everybody? That sense that there's nothing, there is no other. There actually is no other at all in all of the phenomenal world. That I am one. You know, the old Zen joke. What does the Zen master say to the hot dog vendor? Make on with everything.